We hear it all the time. Artificial intelligence is coming for just about every traditional job out there. Well, today, we're going to look at what might just be the front line of that battle: real estate. The big question we're tackling is your agent about to get replaced by an algorithm? Yeah, this headline pretty much says it all. A homeowner just skipped the agent altogether, sold his house with nothing but ChatGPT. And sure, it's really tempting to just write that off as a fluke, right? A one-time thing. But as we're going to see, it's actually a huge warning sign for the entire industry. So, a story like that really forces us to ask a pretty tough question, doesn't it? Is the human real estate agent becoming obsolete? Now, the answer, it's not a simple yes or no, but it is, without a doubt, a major wake-up call.
Okay, so let's dig into that story for a minute, the one that started all this. You have one person armed with a really powerful AI who pulls off one of the biggest financial transactions of their entire life, completely without a professional. And just like that, it sparked this huge debate about what an agent's real value even is anymore, in the age of the internet.
And you can imagine the response from a lot of agents, right? Oh, he just got lucky. And hey, maybe he did, but that totally misses the point. This isn't really about one sale. It's a glimpse into a future where people are absolutely going to turn to AI for really complex stuff, mostly because they're hoping to save some money. And let me tell you, that trend, it's not going anywhere.
And that right there brings us to the core of the problem. Because relying only on an AI for a decision this massive, well, it's packed with hidden dangers. Look, AI can be an amazing tool, for sure, but it often completely overlooks the little critical details that can literally make or break a deal. So, who's actually bearing the most risk here? You might be surprised. It's not the wealthy folks or the super financially savvy people. Nope, it's often the most financially vulnerable among us, the people who are going the DIY route specifically to try and save on commission. They're the ones who stand to lose the most from getting that kind of incomplete, generic advice from an AI. And this chart, man, it just perfectly illustrates that massive gap between an AI and a real human expert. Okay, so on one hand, the AI agent gives you generic advice based on data points. A human agent, they understand market timing, they get the local nuances. The AI can't read emotional cues. A human excels in negotiating and managing all those buyer and seller emotions. An AI is going to overlook super complex stuff like tax implications, while a human is trained to spot and deal with those potential legal and financial landmines. It's like they say, an AI can't read a room, but a great agent practically lives there. Okay, so knowing there's a difference is one thing, but how do agents actually prove their value? The whole strategy has to shift. It's just not enough anymore to just tell people, hey, be careful, AI has risks. That's the thing. You can't just say AI is dangerous. You have to demonstrate it. The key isn't to talk, it's to show. I mean, we are drowning in information these days, right? So you have to create these moments where your human expertise is just so obvious, so indispensable, that people can actually see and feel the difference for themselves. So how do you do that? Well, it all comes down to a really actionable strategy. For any agents out there who want to thrive, not just survive, here's a 3-part playbook for navigating the age of AI. Okay, first up, it all starts with building a personal brand. And look, we're not talking about fancy logos or catchy taglines here. We're talking about really establishing yourself as a trusted authority, someone whose expertise is so unique and undeniable that people seek you out. This is the foundation for absolutely everything else. And why is that brand so critical? Well, look at this number, 1.5 million. That's roughly how many other agents you're competing against. It's a sea of competition. And without a strong brand, you're just a commodity. You're easily replaceable by another agent, or even worse, by an algorithm. All right, strategy number 2. This is where it gets really clever. It's a content strategy that completely flips the script. Instead of just attacking AI, you actually use it to showcase your own expertise. We're going to call it AI-proof content. Here's our works. It's a 4-step process. Step 1, you break down a really complex part of a transaction. Think about something like navigating a crazy bidding war. Step 2, you explain all the risks and all the little variables involved. Then, step 3, you ask an AI for advice on that exact scenario. And finally, step 4, you highlight all the dangerous gaps in the AI's answer. You show exactly where it falls short. And the beauty of this whole approach is, you're not the one saying the AI is bad. The AI is demonstrating its own weaknesses all by itself.
And in the process, what are you doing? You're demonstrating your deep expertise. You're identifying these landmines that the client would have totally missed. And you're building a massive amount of trust without ever directly attacking the technology. It's brilliant.
And that leads us to the third and maybe the most crucial part of the playbook. The transaction ends. The relationship shouldn't. See, the job isn't over when the papers are signed. In fact, you could argue that's when the most important work actually begins. So how do you do that? You have to nurture those client relationships. And I mean really nurture them. This is about staying top of mind by providing genuine value, not just sending spam. We're talking about things like sending genuinely useful info through email or text, picking up the phone for a quick call. Yeah, it's a bigger time commitment, but it builds way stronger connections. Or even hosting local events to connect with clients in person. The goal is super simple. When your past client even thinks about real estate, your name is the only one that pops into their head.
Okay, so let's zoom out a bit. When you get right down to it, this whole thing isn't just about a single transaction or one piece of tech. This is about winning the relationship race. And that's something an AI is fundamentally completely incapable of doing.
You know, the role of a real estate agent has always been evolving. If you think about it, in the past, they were the gatekeepers of all the information. Then, in the present, with things like Zillow everywhere, they became navigators of that information. So what's the future? Well, the future is one where AI provides the raw information, but the agent, the human agent, provides the wisdom, the strategy, and the trust. That's the real value.
And really, the final verdict here is crystal clear. This quote just puts it perfectly. Proactive brokers will thrive, while those who don't will suffer. The agents who get ahead of this, who learn to demonstrate their unique human value, they're going to do great. But those who just ignore this shift and refuse to adapt, they're going to be in trouble. Which leaves us with one last big question that honestly goes way beyond just real estate. This isn't just a challenge for agents, it's a challenge for all of us. As AI gets smarter and more capable, how will we, all of us, prove our own unique human value?